So I was just having another discussion with this AI in regards to this war and who is more likely to win this war and how the war may more than likely inevitably play out as a eventual resolve or resolution. What we came up with, I don't want to copy and paste all of it. It doesn't seem like the AI was quite getting what I was getting though. I guess it's not really in a position where it wants to be, what would you call it, a mind reader, or not a mind reader, or a Nostradamus, a predictor of the future. So it really doesn't really just tell you what the inevitable would be or would seem to be necessarily per se, short of, like many people would say, well, I don't know, if you put all of Rome, the Roman army, Rome of past, against the Christians who in that day, who were about trying to fight them. Well, it wasn't Christians, it was the people in general, I guess, and the Jews. Who do you think would win? When all the Jews had was the assistance of the Lord. But short of Moses, and the Moses paradigm, with the Hebrew slaves and so on and so forth, who do you think would win? Is what we're trying to ask the AI. In other words, we're asking, what is it that took so long? Why is it taking so long for Russia to win it? To win this war? How it seems like they're very equipped. They're like supposed to be an awesome nation when it comes to war, right? And the ability to win. Like the United States of America dreads fighting with, I'm pretty sure dreads fighting with Russia. I mean, they'd much rather pick a fight or have to fight Iran, than Russia. Because they're supposed to be like a real formidable opponent out there. So it's taken them all this time to win with Ukraine, when Ukraine is really just, for the most part, a lot of civilians who took up their rifles at the time that this war began about 5-something odd years ago, rather than military men. And Russia has been matching them with military men, not necessarily just regular civilians, trained men. And now they have to say, well, now we need North Korea. So now with North Korea there, all the population of the military and trained military men of North Korea, all the population of the trained military men of Russia, I'm asking, what do you think the fate of Ukraine is going to be as it just drags out and drags out and drags out? It keeps wanting to say that it has a lot of support. Ukraine has a lot of support, but I was emphasizing they don't have men out there other than Ukrainian men out there on that battlefield versus all the North Korea, if need be, I guess at this point, and certainly all of Russia. So it just seems like a joke to me that we think without some real assistance out there on that battlefield, this is anything more than just wasting more money and time on something that's inevitably just going to fucking fall towards Russia and North Korea, whatever they've got planned together as an alliance or a unit, why they came to help out in the first place. Why? Because they care so much about Russia and what Russia is doing, and they get picked on by NATO or something? Or they have bigger things in store, bigger plans, bigger investments, larger investments, more selfish investments going on than just being altruistic and wanting to help out a neighbor. Anyway, I'm not going to bother copying and pasting, because it's a hell of a task to do all that copying and pasting of our conversation with the AI. But I gave you a little rundown of what was going on about it, and inevitably, I don't think the AI quite got where I was coming from. And I think that's because it's probably not programmed. It's more likely not programmed to be Nostradamus or some kind of Nostradamus paradigm or MO. Anything else to say? I'm just saying, like, if no one gets their black ass out there in that field of Ukraine, you might as well pull out right now or come up with a better strategy than what you've been doing, because it's going to drag out. Like the Vietnam War, that dragged out for like 2 decades. And eventually, all that was, or a good bit of it was wasted. They say for every disciplined effort, there's a multiple reward. So I don't know what the reward was. I'm guessing there was some rewards in that. If nothing more than learning a lesson from would be mistake. All in how you look at it, was a mistake or not. But yeah, that dragged out for 2 decades. I don't see really what the holdup is. And where I'm looking at it, Russia could have handled that by themselves by now. And certainly with the Korea, it's a sealed deal. Unless somebody gets out there on that battlefield. So what course of action do you want to take now? Besides just carrying on with this ridiculous shit on and on and on interminably until it meets some kind of resolution, which is going to be what? Really difficult to say, like the AI kept saying, it's difficult to say. But from my call is, man, it's the might of Roman army against a handful of fucking just motherfuckers who got led by determination. They kept wanting to emphasize how much determination Ukraine has. It takes a little bit more determination. Like you step to me and I step to you. And not only we're not the same size, you're much larger than I am, much stronger than I am, much quicker than I am. You have much more resources than I have. You know how to fight. You actually know how to fight. And you have all the backing that you need. And you have somebody else to help you with that, if you need to. You're one gang and I'm just one solitary man out there. That's kind of the ratio we're talking about right now. I'm guessing, unless I can bring a good bit of that into the table and match you with that, then I just lost. And maybe you're just playing cat and mouse with me if you haven't just taken me out and said, look, just have a seat. It's not that serious. It's not that difficult. Put it like this, because the AI kept wanting to emphasize how much support and the geopolitical, it loves to say that word, geopolitical dynamic. It loves saying that. It has helped and benefited Ukraine throughout the course of this whole thing. Initially, my question was, how come Russia hasn't won this war yet? And I kind of fashioned the question in a way that a couple of things I wanted to ask, a couple of things included, some things in considerations, and I asked the question, given all of these things and the knowledge, all the knowledge that's your access, why haven't they won yet? And they kept wanting to go on about all kind of parameters and reasons, and it may be. Listen, if the United States of America were to go to war with, let's say, Ukraine, and Ukraine was given assistance from whatever nation they were given assistance from or by, but the assistance wasn't actual manpower, maybe not even strategies, but perhaps the United States of America has been giving them strategies as well, which is really just going to war with Russia and North Korea at this point as well. Because if we're playing a game of chess, and you may be the player, it may be 2 opponents, right? You're playing the game, and he 2 men are playing the game, 2 people are playing the game, but you're over here in his ear, giving him all this assistance to put up a good front against me. What is this like? Okay, I'm gonna help the 5-year-old because you're a grown-ass man and you have more knowledge and more ability when it comes to chess. So you're going to sit here and help the 5-year-old by telling him what moves to make and so on and so forth. Now, let's not overgeneralize it. Ukrainians out there are certainly putting up an effort. They're the ones on that battlefield and they're the ones bleeding out and everything else. But they're giving strategies. They're not just giving them artillery and food and so on and so forth and assistance. They're actually giving them strategies as well, I'm guessing. But the point is, without straying too much for that, you see how that paradigm works, right? It's like we're at war with these people. Whether we want to admit it or not, or say it's official or not, we're at war with them. So anyway, either way, what do you think? How long do you think it would take for the United States of America to win that war? Do you think they would put up as much as struggle or much as time as seeming struggle as Russia and North Korea currently now are doing? I mean, how hard is it to take out a bunch of civilians for the United States of America? Same thing applies to Russia. And I wouldn't underestimate North Korea either. They ain't nothing to fuck with. You don't just want to step to North Korea and say, hey, let's do it, as if that's your first option. And you got all that against Ukraine. They haven't won yet. And they've been doing that for quite some time, actually. Now, again, I would like to reiterate, like I said in a video prior to, you may want to get out there and appreciate the resources that you have before they're dwindling any more than they already are, which is Ukrainian men, the Ukrainian people. They have no choice, I guess, but to fight or surrender. Now, what happens if they surrender? What happens if Russia wins? What happens if NATO pulls out? All this changes the dynamic. But it doesn't look like they want to surrender. If they do surrender, all that was wasted. If you pull out with NATO as assistance, all that was wasted. If you continue the way you're going right now without doing anything more than like getting men out there on that field to help them, or wherever you want to get them to help out on that field, or maybe it's a suckers can't get on that field out there. Maybe it's not. Maybe you want to lead them someplace else. Either way, if it doesn't change, if it just goes out the way it's going right now, yeah, my guesstimation is, without trying to be Nostradamus, is that's a failed situation. It's just a matter of that damn time. So you may not want to just sit there and dwindle any more of your resources out there, because they are your resource. The people are your resources. That land is your resources. I don't think Putin really tried to do too much damage to that land out there and infrastructure and things that are taking place and things that are out there, set out there, because he wants the spoils of war. So all that could go to the United States of America. You can let them know, look, man, we're helping you with this right here, right now. NATO's going to help you with this here right now. So we become more than just alliances in the past. We've become very real alliances. Yeah, those resources out there belong to us kind of in a lot of ways. Negotiate with these people. Make it worth your time. That's probably a little extra, but that's how I look at it. You know, I'm putting my neck on the line, my people on the line, my money, my time, everything on the line. You know, I'm not just out there just trying to help you win a war. I'm like, what's in it for me? Because that's what Putin's in it for, right? Or is it much more than just that, the spoils of war, just the Ukrainian nation and everything that goes with it, and the right to dictate what happens and how it happens? It could have just been all staged just to get United States of America out of the picture. If it didn't start that way, maybe it ended up that way. Get you weakened, next thing you know, shit, just go for the jugular. And NATO in general. You know what NATO is? NATO is a lot of backing. But UK, I'm not saying they don't have an army. I'm just saying they're not Russia and they're not United States of America. And all the rest of them, they're not United States of America and they're not Russia. They may have a lot of things to bring to the table, but as far as military goes, they're not really considered, a lot of other places out here aren't really considered that much of military might, just like it was in the World War. What happened to Germany? How did they become so strong? Matter of fact, what happened in ancient Rome? How did they become so strong? Does it look like right now in the day, current day Rome is ready to go out there and pop off much of shit when it comes to a world war, or challenging some nation out there as far as their military goes? Maybe they're praying more now than the ones back in the day of old Rome are praying for a lot of things when it comes to going to war. Somebody who's got a lot of military might. That's besides the point. I guess I'm rambling at this point. So moving on, I'm gonna up this and I'm weighing in once again. What are you gonna do?